there's going to be a rub there, and that's not going to multiply, right? Because what's going to multiply is that awesome experience,
the consistency,
and the consistency to continue to do that time and time again across the entire organization.
I'm Jamie O'Kane, CPA, Small Business Advanced Tax Planning and Compliance Extraordinaire, and this is the Abundant Beans Podcast, the podcast that takes my love for learning what makes people tick while digging into the good, bad, and ugly of small business ownership. We strive to give you the insight that only those in the trenches of being and working with entrepreneurs can provide.
The vet industry as a whole right now is only like a $3 billion industry or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But Mars, so for people who don't know, Mars, the candy bar company, they own a lot of clinics, both in Europe. Yeah, Europe and in America. I can't remember it's one of the big players like Banfield or something like that. It may not be Banfield, but or VCA. It's one of the two really big ones. They actually own them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they are Mars. So the president of the veterinary division at Mars spoke, and she said that she anticipates the veterinary division to reach $22 billion in the next 10 years. So it's like a really young industry. So what does that mean? Well, it just means that there aren't a lot of solutions. There are few. And so it actually makes it easier for us because we know, yes, this one's good, this one's not, stay away from this one.
This one's a better fit for you. This one's not a good fit for you. But there's like 3 options instead of like.
And we've never for most, and to be completely honest, most of the major software solutions for vet practices are going to fill 80% of your need. And then you're just going to have to deal with the other 20%. Like you're just going to have to figure out, yes, it's just, we don't like it, but that's the way it is. We have yet to have a clinic say, I take that back. We have one clinic that is in North Carolina that actually, they decided to make the move from one practice management system to another because they thought it was going to be better for them. So of all the clinics we manage all across the country, we've had one that has decided, yeah, we're going to make the change.
Personally, I don't like going into something unless I can be the best. And I think that when you look at being able to effectively sell with integrity, your product or service needs to provide real value, do what it says it's going to do, and so to me, there are some really big key pieces on alignment that start before it even gets to the business development guy, right? So if you're a business that hasn't done work on the purpose, right? Why you're doing this, your mission, a really clear idea of, what we're all about here. And then also I would say the values, right? These are the values that if someone is in your company, they are 100% on board with the values that have been laid out. If you're a business owner that says, hey, I want to bring in a biz dev guy, do that first, or do that, in conjunction, because otherwise it's not going to be across the organization. So you could have the best biz dev guy in the world, but if they go make a sale and then the picture that was described is not congruent with the service provided, there's going to be a rub there, and that's not going to multiply, right? Because what's going to multiply is that awesome experience,
the consistency,
and the consistency to continue to do that time and time again across the entire organization.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what would be your one piece of advice for any DVM that thinks a less traditional career path might be a better fit for them?
If they have an entrepreneurial spirit, go for it.
Yes.
Learn how to stoke that fire, and in that area, make sure that you really love to build. And if you love to build, then you go for it. There really shouldn't be anything holding you back to explore what your options are. And then, when you are meant to do this, all the doors will open in the right way. Right? Isn't that what you find?
I think that's very true. But I think a lot of DVMs, or the vets I generally talk to, they tend to all kind of have an entrepreneurial spirit, just at least a little bit, because there's always just the seed of like, I could have my own practice in some way, because that's kind of the traditional route. So if you don't ever wanted to have your own practice, you might not complete DVM school. I know there's not a whole lot of business training. I know they're changing that now. But, I just tend to find that most veterinarians have a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit about like how they want to do things, how they want to run things, what's best care, things like that.
Absolutely.
So, and anytime somebody comes on the podcast and asks me if they can have the questions up front, my answer is always no.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One, I prep 5 minutes before they arrive. I actually am really, really good at that. That's like
I add a little bit of pressure and good stuff comes out.
I've tried to prep before and it's just not as good.
Yeah.
It's just not as good. Because it's the questions I want to ask that day. Mm-hmm. So they're authentic questions too. And the second one is I want them to give me their authentic answers. Yes. I don't want them to think about it. I don't want them to ruminate on it. I don't want them to write notes about what they want to say. I want them to give us their authentic answers.
Yes.
Because authenticity is one of our big values around here. Mm-hmm. It's one of the things we strive to do with our clients, with everything.
Yeah.
Especially, with, being authentically us.
Mm-hmm.
They're showing up as us every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important that our guests do that too.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening or watching. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, or wherever you prefer to listen. If you learned something and found some useful information to apply to your business today, please consider giving us a thumbs up and a review. Until next week, be abundant.